Ed here with the Digital Digest, and today I wanted to share a quick unboxing and first look at the VAIO XS14. Now, for those of you unfamiliar with this laptop, it is a brand new offering from VAIO Japan. This is not Sony VAIO. It has not been Sony for many years. In fact, many of you who follow my channel will recall that I was a very big fan of the VAIO Z Canvas. You can see this is made in Japan. I believe that is the model number, at least inside of the XS14 class, because this does come in a multitude of configurations. Something I also want to point out is the starting price point of this unit is, I believe, $1299, and then goes all the way up to, I believe, $2,200, but I'll correct that through the course of this video, I can assure you. But let's take a look. Just arrived today, and this was furnished to me by VAIO for review. A little over 2 pounds, 2.32 pounds, gives you a Intel 8th gen processor, which is very promising, incredibly sleek, if you didn't already notice. And what's really unique about this is that you can go with either a full HD display or a UHD, a 4K option. And one thing I love, you already see, is that full-size SD card slot. Now, this pretty much has every port under the sun, but before I get to that, let's see what else is inside the box. Carbon fiber build. I mean, it brings me back to the old VAIO days that I do miss oh so much. For those of you that know how much I enjoyed my Canvas Z, unfortunately, that did get destroyed by Hurricane Matthew, so that is not something I have anymore. You know, it's something that I really enjoyed. I wish VAIO had come out with something to update it, but this, in a way, is a pretty solid update. So here's our power brick. Nothing new here. Pretty much standard fare for what VAIO has been using now for years. I'm going to see if anything else is in the packaging, but I think that may be it. Yep, no paperwork in here. I'm not sure if this is exactly how, you know, the model is going to look for sale. It is available right now, direct through VAIO. I'm not sure about retail outlets, but remember, again, this was furnished to me by the manufacturer. Of course, that doesn't change that I'm going to be giving you a completely unbiased review, as always. So this model does have the 4K UHD display. I think it covers 100%, roughly, of sRGB gamut. I think it's only about 78% of Adobe RGB. That is something I would have liked to have seen a little bit more on, but this is really targeted directly at, I would say, professionals, you know, business professionals. This is a business laptop, but it certainly has all the flair of any high-end Ultrabook on the market. So you can see we've got a Type-C port right here. I believe that's a Type-C, unless that's a display port. It might be a display port. 2 USB 3.0, headphone jack, the power connector right there. And there's also, I believe, a fingerprint scanner on this. This is the, again, 4K display paired with that Whiskey Lake 8th gen Intel CPU, complemented by 16 gigs of DDR3 RAM and a 1 terabyte NVMe drive. Now here you can see, yes, your eyes are not deceiving you. You are looking at something you haven't seen in a long time. And that's because VAIO isn't just about giving you Ethernet, HDMI, a Type-C for charging, another USB 3.0, and a full-size SD card slot, but we actually have VGA. So when you're in that conference room or, you know, dealing with that firm or client that just doesn't have the latest and greatest, you have an option, which is pretty cool, I have to say. Now let's go ahead and open this up, give you a look at what this little carbon fiber beast has to offer. So much like VAIO in days past, they give you this little buffer so that the keys do not imprint the screen. And I got to tell you, this thing is beautiful. I mean, I know you're not seeing it all in frame right now. I'm going to try to give you as much as I can. This is a matte finish. Again, 14-inch 4K display. You can see the webcam right there, center top, microphone array surrounding it. Just a really nice fit and finish to this machine. I can't say enough good things about the way it looks. It just reminds me of the old days, but finally with hardware that's currently up to date. Now, the hinge design, in terms of when you open it, it is propping the machine up. For those of you that are curious, your fingerprint scanner is right here on the right side. Trackpad is a little bit smaller than what we would find on the majority of comparable machines in its class. The keys, chiclet style, seem like they have, I mean, it seems like they have a pretty good travel on them. Seems comfortable to use. I really don't see anything that's actually missing here. So it's really all a matter of, do you need all of these ports? I mean, if you want the latest and greatest hardware complemented by never having to carry around a dongle, which I'm after that all the way, seems like you're getting it here. And that's what's really unique about the XS14. And you can see that hinge design I was talking about right there. So another cool feature, in my opinion. You know, it's not anything groundbreaking, but there's also something to be said for getting a laptop that is made, or anything for that matter, in Japan. So let me go ahead and hit that power button. Let's see if this thing already has a charge. Keep in mind, the RAM is soldered on here. So if you intend, you do see the backlight. Hopefully you can pick that up. The backlit keys are there. But again, keep in mind that, you know, with the RAM being soldered, you have to pick the model that's going to fit your needs. Let's come back into focus. Come on now. This is the first startup, so I'm not really going to take you through that. But the machine looks fantastic. I have to tell you, it really, and this isn't just me geeking out on a VAIO, because God knows I will call a spade, but the display already looks really good. And again, try finding a 14-inch UHD matte display. I mean, that's where, for me as a photographer, for those of you that follow my channel, you already know this is what it's all about. Because I don't want something that's just good as a laptop. I want something that can do everything. And because this has everything built in, that's what really sets it apart from the competition. Now, let's talk about pricing. Let's talk about configurations, because that's what I usually lead off with. But that ends up putting most of you to sleep and you leave the channel. And that's not what I'm looking for here, right? So I told you the starting price is $12.99. That is for the i5 version, 8 gigs of RAM, 256 gig SSD, and that's with a full HD display. Now, this does come in multiple colors. This is the black. It also comes in silver, red, and what I believe is a bronze color. Another nice thing that VAIO does that you won't find with many other manufacturers. You can also step up to, the next step is at $14.99. This is all US currency, of course. You're stepping up to the i7. That is going to be complemented by 16 gigs of RAM, just like this machine that I will be reviewing here. Also still retaining that 256 gig SSD, as well as the full HD display. Now, in order to get to the next level, which is now we're entering 4K display territory, like the one that's employed here, there you're stepping up to, it's currently out of stock. I'm checking their website as we speak, but I believe it's $18.99. I'm not 100% sure. And that's with, again, 16 gigs of RAM and a 0.5 terabyte SSD. You take the next step up, and then it's about colors. So black, the only way you're getting this color right now as it stands is by stepping up to the model I just mentioned, the 512 with 16 gigs of RAM and the 4K display. And I believe I'm right about the price. I think it's $18.99. You can then pick that up in brown, also for $18.99. Then if you want to go up to the 1 terabyte in black, this is going to set you back $2,200, $21.99 US. Now, that may seem like a high price, but considering everything I've told you, the form factor, the weight, the capability, processing power, all of those, the I/O is just amazing in terms of ports on board. And then in addition to that, that 4K display, it's a very impressive lineup, in my opinion, of overall capabilities for its price point. And then if you want it in brown, it's the same price. But if you want it in red, that's the special edition, that's going to bump you up to $22.99. Now, in terms of battery capacity, I'm not sure exactly on the milliamp hour rating on this bad boy, but I will be testing it. I'm expecting to get somewhere around 6 to 8 hours. I mean, you know, traditional Ultrabook numbers. But again, just marvel at the I/O, folks. And I'm not kidding. I mean, most of you know when I am kidding, but holy moly. I mean, what is this missing? I mean, when you've got a VGA out and an Ethernet port and HDMI, by the way, no Thunderbolt on here. So you're not going to be able to use the Type-C for, driving a graphics card. That would have been a nice touch, but I mean, this thing is overkill already. And again, I must continue to restate, love the finish. I mean, it just reminds me of the old days, but now we've got something that, while it reminds you, makes you nostalgic of the old days of VAIO, it brings you straight into the present. And there you can see on the backside all of the, they're not hex screws, they're actually just little Phillips screws in order to take this apart. I believe the keyboard is removable, but again, nothing really upgradable here, so don't think in those terms. Don't think you can upgrade the RAM, because you can't. And I just love the fit and finish. It is picking up a little bit of fingerprints, but that is a small price to pay for what is such a powerhouse. And again, 2.32 pounds. And if you don't need all the horsepower, as low as a $12.99 starting point, even though it's sold out, there's a reason it's sold out. It's because this is an amazing little machine in terms of form factor. So excited to get at it. I believe the brightness, by the way, is about 250 nits, so it's not as high as you'd get with an XPS, but still, you won't find anything like this from Dell, and it certainly won't be made in Japan. So excited to test it out, excited to receive it and share it with all of you. After all, is there really a much better day than getting a brand new VAIO with a 4K display in every port on Earth and latest hardware? No, not really. That's a good day. It's a really good day. Any questions or comments, please feel free to post them. Hit that like button, and as usual, please feel free to subscribe. Later.